Hey everybody, what's up and welcome back to the Starcraft 2 Own It Shack. It's David here, bringing you Master League Quest episode 23. Yep, that's right, and this is going to be my first placement match for Season 3, as you can see there by the starting screen. And it's going to be a Terran versus Terran. Now, before I get into this too far, I do want to point out to all of you that this is the first Terran versus Terran that I played in probably about 2 months or so. I've been solely working on Terran vs. Protoss and Terran vs. Zerg, so please don't expect master level Terran vs. Terran play here. It's just not going to happen. But on the other hand, my Terran vs. Protoss and Terran vs. Zerg have gotten quite a bit better since I've started playing again, seriously. So anyway, yeah, I can't really control the fact that he's Terran, but I'm going to try my best in this game and see what happens. And hopefully get placed into Master League at the end of this. So, there's Razor throwing out the GLHF. Now, my goal in this match right now is to go for mech. Sadly, I'm not really, I'm not really that accustomed to doing this strategy quite yet. I've had, simply put, quite a bit of experience with the Marine tank style in this matchup. And obviously, from watching VODs and from just keeping up with the metagame, I know that that's now outdated. And so I'll have to adjust my playstyle accordingly. So fortunately, I do have experience with mech in other matchups like Terran vs. Protoss and Terran vs. Zerg, so shouldn't be too hard a switch for me to make. But obviously, some of the timings here are going to be slightly crass, but that's just how it goes. Alright, so I'm going to go for that. This is pretty much the standard opener, I think. And the map is the Crypt map, which I don't know, I kind of don't like this map for mech, just because it's kind of wide open compared to some of the other maps, but I do like the watchtowers in the middle. However, that being said, I feel like in this particular matchup, in Terran vs. Terran, those watchtowers are just a little too strong. I mean, having 4 of them in the middle like that, it's tough. If your opponent grabs them before you do, you're kind of screwed. I mean, there's no real way, if they form a siege line around there, that you're going to be able to bust out, because it grants you complete vision over the entire center of the map. So that's just one thing that you're going to have to get used to in Terran vs. Terran on this map. In fact, I might even skip this map eventually. Currently, I think I'm canceling Backwater Gulch, Tal'Darim Altar, and Typhon Peaks, because I just don't like those maps. But you know, there's definitely a potential for this map and Searing Crater to join, maybe in place of Typhon or Tal'Darim. Backwater is definitely staying there. I pretty much hate that map now, but yeah. So this opener, as you can see, is I'm just kind of indecisive right now, to be honest. I'm not really sure what I'm doing. I'm trying to copy what I've seen in pro VODs. And what usually happens in a mech build is you're going to get a reactor on your barracks and a tech lab on your factory eventually. And so I'll play this like a standard Terran vs. Zerg with the reactor Hellion opening into expansion. And that's pretty much what I'm doing right now. And then I can get the tech lab with the barracks after you swap the factory onto that reactor. So that way, once you've done with those 2 Hellions, or 4 Hellions, however many you want to produce, you switch the factory back onto the tech lab that the barracks just produced in order to start Infernal Pre-Igniter. The one thing that I am quite wary about with a build like this, however, are Banshees, and that's because obviously there's not much anti-air here. You have a couple Marines just for basic defense at the start, and a bunch of Hellions which can't shoot air, so you have to be very careful. And I'm not even scanning because I obviously need the minerals going for that fast expo. I do absolutely need that mule, so unfortunately there's going to be some one-way information here. But I can actually push the front with my Hellions just to see what's going on. And so I will throw up that starport just as a safety precaution, more than anything. Obviously, if you knew exactly what he was doing, and if you knew that he were going for, you know, some bio or mech himself, the starport would be unnecessary at this point. But as it is, gonna have to go for it. That's just how it's going to be. And the Hellions will patrol around. This is a great map for Hellions, on the other hand. You can control the watchtowers with them. You can send them for a lot of different, you know, expansion harassment techniques. And honestly, I think they're going to be really, really powerful on this map in the future. It's probably going to be my standard opener here. So there I go. And I am now switching. There, I researched Infernal Pre-Igniter. The barracks is now swapped so I can get those Marines. And so I'm going to do that thing I told you about. I'm going to push the front here just to see what he has. I'm not trying to actually sneak in. I'll check for the expansion. Go up, and what do I see? I see Marines and a couple Hellions, so I know. Okay, this looks just like a mech build. If he were going for Blue Flame Hellion drop, there's no way he would have the Hellions just sitting there at the ramp. You'd want to conceal that, obviously, so... I feel pretty confident in what I'm doing right now. I'm going to try and repair those Hellions and get some Marines down there. And I'm going to be taking my expansion, you know, a little bit early here. I feel... Oh, you know what? Just looking at this right now, this would be a perfect time to add on a second factory. Yeah, the second factory should have been much earlier. That would have been so sick. Just, you know, 30 seconds to a minute earlier there when I had that extra 100 gas after researching Infernal Pre-Igniter could have gotten me a lot more Hellions this game, so... that's something I'll do next time I try this build. Actually, that really bugs me because, well, I don't want to spoil anything, but you'll see. I'll explain later why this was probably the wrong choice. I will be getting a bunker there as well. I think Sim City versus Mech is very important, and check the minimap out there. A bunch of Hellions. He's got more than me right now. But if I had that factory out earlier on the reactor, I probably could have gotten more than him. Also, I'm behind because of the starport, so he shreds my Hellions. And I respect him for not trying to push in there, because with the siege tank, it's probably not a good idea. Those are all softened up, and yeah, looks like it's a late third factory as well. Like I said, guys, this is the first time I've played Terran vs. Terran in a long time, and the first time really trying this mech, the way the pros do it. I did try mech before, I think, but it was just kind of, you know, improvisation. Now there's actually legit builds out there that you can use. The other thing I'm worried about here is a drop, so I will start building a turret ring, and I think that's always a good idea, especially in Terran vs. Terran, because obviously Terran has the easiest access to drops. It's not blatantly obvious, you know, like 500 overlords flying into your base, so just my opinion there. The macro could definitely be better. Need faster gas, it appears, with mech as well, and faster upgrades. It's something my opponent did better than me this game, so all things I'm going to have to work on, but and obviously, you know, trying my best, so yeah. Alright, more Hellions, siege tech now on the way, and you can see right here how gas starved you get with mech. With the 2 siege tanks and those Hellions, I feel safe pushing out now. Obviously, I was a little worried about a Hellion run by on the ramp, but they should all die at this point if he tries that, with that many units. Third factory's now done, gonna get that guy there, and there you go. And I see the Hellions with that Banshee, and that's going to trigger me to try and harass with the Banshee, but I was a little bit indecisive, I think. And I'll be blocking the ramp once again, splitting those, just to make sure he doesn't try any run-by stuff. If you lose Hellions in this, or sorry, if you lose Marines, oh my gosh, if you lose SCVs to Hellions, it can be quite devastating, so that's something you really want to make an effort to not do. And also I'm getting very mineral blocked. I think I'm going to have to check out some pro VODs just to see how they keep that from happening, because there's no way I should have almost 1,000 minerals stacked up at this point in the game. There's got to be a better way to spend that. And I think that third refinery should have been taken immediately. So yeah, like I said, not the greatest game right now being played by me, but I hope you guys will bear with me here, because I guarantee you a better play is going to be coming out in the future once I get the hang of this matchup. Alright, some more depots being placed down. Gonna get even more. That's one thing I've become pretty adept at, not getting supply blocked. Always a good thing. There goes that refinery. And also, actually, with those extra minerals, what I could have done is taken a very early third command center, just for extra SCVs, and maybe even some mules, and then float that one over later to my third base location. But, obviously, learning process, like I said, all things to try out next time, so yeah. More siege tanks. I think I have a Raven on the way as well, just for point defense drone and detection against Banshees. Because Banshees can be quite potent here. If you lose your Thors, you really don't have any other anti-air, so I think it's important to have some kind of detection. Also, I like making mass missile turrets outside my base. You can see I've already started the turret ring. And now that that barracks has been decommissioned, I will be using it just simply to make add-ons for my other production facilities, just so I can get everything out that much faster.
Insufficient Vespene gas.
Here comes another SCV making stuff. Making stuff all the time. Going to be an armory. That could have been a lot earlier with that extra gas. Third command center also could have been earlier. So I'm pretty much playing from a position where my opponent's one step ahead of me just due to mechanics. Obviously I lost a few Hellions at the start. Not a huge deal though. But you might notice if you're really, if you're very, what's the word? Astute, you might actually realize that he's ahead of me in upgrades the entire game. I click on his units a few times during this game, and that's something I suggest you guys do, just to see if you are keeping up on those upgrades. So I'll reclaim this tower, but obviously, you know, I think that this would have probably been a better idea to do earlier, but you know, no harm done. It is, after all, just a video game. And I will now be landing that starport on the reactor to get more Vikings. +1 being started. A double armory sometimes can be good in my opinion. But, oh, excuse me. Obviously in some cases you do want to have some more units instead of those fast upgrades. I think that with Terran versus Terran though, it's one of the most forgiving matchups when it comes to greedy upgrades because you can simply turtle with siege tanks. And also notice I'm stockpiling scans. It might be a little excessive right now, but it is something I do enjoy doing in this matchup because you really need those scans later just to see like where his stuff is. I don't think mules are that valuable in this matchup. As you can see, my mineral account is just doing fine. It's my gas that I need more of. So obviously with mules you can't really mine gas. So I think it's a good idea to just use those on scans to see what he's teching to, if he's going for those fast battle cruisers, if he's massing air, if he's switching over to bio. All these things are possible. I think it's a good idea to do that at this point in the mid-game. You'll also want to scan for his expansions, I think. That could be pretty valuable as well, just to see when he's getting his expos, and thus when you can, you know, go harass them, drop, do whatever you need to do. So I'll be floating that over right now, and I do enjoy putting missile turrets all around my stuff. You don't want late game Banshees coming in there and ruining everything, so something I like to do. Also adding more factories. Still very mineral blocked due to not having that third command center up fast enough with the extra Vespene gas. Oh, another thing. Something I think is a good idea. As you can see, my medevac gets shot down there. I think it's a great idea for everyone, including myself, to rally your medevac to the airspace behind someone's base, and then after that, just go right ahead and move it in when you feel ready, instead of having it queued in already, because then sometimes you're not paying attention. This way you can give your full attention to that drop when you're ready to do it, so that's something I'm going to start trying as well. A sensor tower is very valuable here as well. He's got his third base up, so do I, but judging from the look, his is much faster than mine, and so that's obviously something I'm going to have to work on, just be more greedy with the third base. He's probably got more production facilities as well. So yeah, overall I'd say my macro is pretty bad here, but you know, what can you do? Just gotta improve day by day, get a bit better. I'm gonna be greedy on the 4th, and yeah, this is another thing. Don't get caught. Oh man, that's ugly. But yeah, so that's how it goes sometimes. Just that's how the cookie crumbles, my friends. Another thing I feel like. If you are in this position as in a Terran versus Terran where it's mech versus mech, I don't feel like air control is as important as it is in a mech versus bio situation. And the reason I think that is because in mech versus mech, you have enough scans to constantly know where the army is and get vision. And I think that even if they have more Vikings than you and get those Banshees, you can simply get a few Thors in there to snipe the Banshees, and you should be okay. That's without those Vikings, you're gonna basically have more siege tanks at your disposal, and I think that is a little more valuable. So if I were to go back here and play this game again, I would find out if he's going down the mech route before I start investing in Vikings, and I think that would give me an edge here, because you can also use that Viking resources on other things such as upgrades. So all different things I'm going to try and improve on. I've got a massive list after this game, as you can hear, but you know, if you don't have a massive list, you're already a great player and you don't need to practice anymore. So yeah, still plodding along in this game. It's very passive, as you can see, but now I'm going to start putting on the harassment with these Hellions. I get a great little time here to just fry those SCVs, and I do know he already took that base with a scan, so you know, unfortunately for him, he forgot to make that into a planetary, and he's going to lose a lot of SCVs here as a result. So that's something I think that people should be more wary about. You definitely want to be obviously keeping those far bases as safe as possible without investing units over there. So planetary fortresses, I think if you're playing mech, are almost a necessity. Hellion run-bys are just too strong unless you SimCity perfectly, and that can be a feat sometimes, especially with such large ramps. He gets a great scan there, right on my command center floating over, so he knows the timing of that. And he's already got his 4th, so I'm still behind in economy. I do throw down a scan there, and I'm like, okay, he's definitely committing to air. He's certainly going to be trying a battle cruiser switch late. So what I need to do is push out here and just end the game now. There's no way I'll catch up. You can see he's got way too many Vikings, way too many siege tanks, and this all just goes back to what I was saying before about how if I had simply had better macro and better decision making, you know, it would have been a lot better. Lose my Thors unnecessarily, could have taken that Banshee out easily. So another unfortunate little mishap right there, but I'll have to reposition back towards my missile turrets. Certainly glad that I made those now. Also, I get high-sec auto-tracking for my missile turrets, which adds +1 range to them. I think that's essential for all matchups. Honestly, get it. I think it's so valuable and so underused in late game situations, only if you're going for something immobile like mech, obviously. I kill a few more SCVs here. I'm going to try and go up there and kill even more. And now that that base is up, I'm going to try and secure some gas there, but... Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't even mention my Marauder switch. I tried just, instead of making more siege tanks, I wanted quick Marauders, just to try and overwhelm him, but you can see here that he's already reached that critical mass where the Marauders simply don't do enough to be effective, so that's very unfortunate. It's kind of what happened here though, so... Unfortunately, he's going to be pushing even closer to my 3rd base, and if he gets that, that's pretty much the end for me. I've got tons of minerals and gas stocked up, but I'm not going to be able to replace that once my 3rd goes down. So I think I should start massing Thors at this point, and that's kind of a desperation move when you're getting hit by a Banshee, and your only anti-air is a Thor. If he's got air control, it's pretty much what you're up against. Also, got to hold position on those Marauders, or really bad things happen. So as you can see, Thors are coming out. I do have 2-1 upgrades now, so that's, you know, somewhat impressive. I don't know what he's at right now actually, but I'm sure it's higher because he was ahead the whole time. And this is pretty much why I was saying these Zelnaga towers are so crucial on this map. I can't really save my expansion because he's taking control of that tower. So I think, you know, if you get a hold of those, you can have a very commanding position in the late to mid game. Hellions try and do something there, not going to work. And Marauders stemming in alone, something you never want to do. You want to back them up with your tanks. Even point defense drones me, so that completely raffle stops my attempt. And I'm pretty much just going to go for one last all-in counter here. And see what happens. So, oops, I will get that. I do not want that interrupting the cast. There we go. I hope you guys didn't hear that. But anyway, there it is. A bunch of Thors tanking hits. There's just too many siege tanks, though, with great upgrades. And he's just going to plow through this. But I have to admit, the Thors definitely did their part. And there you go. That's my placement match. So, as you can see, sadly, I was not placed into Master. I'm still Diamond League. But guess what? Razor himself was a Master level Terran, as you can see right there. Right there. So obviously I'm almost there. Just need to play a few more games, get a few more wins against these guys, and hopefully I'll be doing Grandmaster League quest So anyways, thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed the show, and I hope to see you again for another Daily Dose of Ownage.